our little field trip to the beach.
We're in Cascais. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Cascais.
We're looking for some lunch. We just parked our car. We did rent a car to see more of like places along the way, as well as this little beach town, but it was a little bit annoying finding parking, but we did it. So here we are. We are about to find a place to go get lunch. Not sure where yet, but this neighborhood in Cascais is so cute. Just like very quaint, small streets, colorful buildings.
Not dinner, lunch at this quaint little restaurant called San Pedro. We just ordered. There's like this nice scenic garden with a lot of trees around it. It's so beautiful. We ordered lamb chops and I think the shellfish. No, we got lobsters.
Beach in Cascais right now, which is like this little beach town that's like 30 to 40 minutes away from Lisbon. And I thought we would just chat about like this trip and why we planned it and like how it's been like having a long distance friendship.
We planned this probably a year ago, and the reason why we planned it is because we're both interested in possibly living in Europe. Can I say that?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things that we align on, and one of them is the way that we travel together. And also, I moved to Miami 2 years ago, and
oh my God.
we're having a long distance friendship for 2 years. And instead of, her coming to Miami, ow, sorry, there's like sand blowing in our faces. I'm not used to this. Instead of her coming to Miami and me going back to Vancouver, which I do, we decided to plan this trip. It's about like 2 weeks together, traveling to new cities that we're interested in.
Beyond just travel style, we also like a lot of we like to do a lot of the same things, and we like a lot of the same cities, or like the same cities interest us. So it kind of just worked out, because I think that the most important thing that you can do for like a long distance friendship is to make sure that the time that you do have together is really solid, like quality time.
I have a core group of girlfriends that I prioritize, especially when I go back to Vancouver, and obviously you're one of them. Like when I first came back this summer, I think the first weekend, Summer and I already drove up to Squamish to stay the weekend with you. I just want to make sure that we are spending that quality time where we can relax, chill. And honestly, we had no agenda that weekend.
No.
Literally just drove up. We cooked dinner. We worked out. We went to coffee shops. We went to coffee shops. And honestly, we just sat there. Even, I think one morning, you made us coffee. You were on the couch. We were on the floor. And honestly, we just had like an hour chat of life. And what I love about our friendship is that no matter how much time has passed, we can talk to each other openly about absolutely anything, and that makes our connection so much stronger. And it's not every day you come across people that you can share your vulnerabilities with.
Totally. Like share everything with. It's like there's
future plans.
Yeah, or even just talk about like maybe things in our lives that we know we need to work on or we're struggling with, or maybe things that we think that we might be having toxic thoughts about. But it's like truly I never have the thought of, oh, I might get judged if I share this, like let's say it's like a desire or like an action or like a whatever. Like I just know that these group of friends will, although they'll be very like bluntly honest, if they have an opinion about it, it's never judgment, you know?
Yeah, it's never judgment. I think we have known each other long enough that we trust each other in our own decisions. And I mean, I think I learned this recently more than before, but everyone's on their own journey. It does not matter what someone tells you you should or should not do, because either way you're probably gonna try it out on your own and make your own decision. Mistakes, or you learn a lot from it. You know, you really can't guess what happens in the future.
I think you'll have friends that you'll travel with and you can like talk about a lot of things, but like our conversations are just so raw and unfiltered and just...
They're really open-ended.
They're very open-ended. We're often just discussing, or like, it's almost like having a second brain just to like ponder life's questions with, you know?
Yeah.
Like oftentimes it's not like we come to a conclusion. It's not even like, oh, we're trying to like give each other strong suggestions. It's literally just like, this is how I'm feeling. Oh, cool. Why are you feeling like that? You know, how does that affect this, and this? Like, it's just therapy. And friendship therapy.
And every friend in our friend group, I think, responds to these topics differently. Like if you're emoting on someone, you know, we have a lot of listeners in our groups. I mean, everyone listens, but then what follows is, you know, some people are just there to, you know, help you and guide you. Some others give you advice. Some others kind of make you think a little bit more or deeper, or like remind you of things that has happened in the past, or like who you are as a person, you know, whether that aligns with you or not. So it's like really good to have a diverse group of girlfriends that really just give a shit about you.
Yeah.
And know you well enough.
Okay, I would love your opinion on like nurturing adult relationships or like making friends as an adult. It's something that I do obviously worry a little bit about because of my upcoming move.
Yeah.
But it's like, how have you found that experience, and like what are things that you've done to try to build stronger adult friendships?
First, nurturing friendships, like I would say for current friendships, I am really good at communicating, and I always have been. You know, growing up as a single child, I place my friends on a pretty high pedestal, but like I really care deeply about my close friends. So I'm really always good with communicating, which is usually in like text form. I'm really good at checking in. And yeah, whenever I feel like I want to say something or share something, I'll just send it to them right away. And then nurturing relationships or friendships, honestly, just checking in. If it's not text, phone call. And then especially with Angel, she's not always like the biggest texter. She's quite busy, but like you have to learn how each friend communicates, like the different styles, and never take it personally if you don't get a response. Like that's fine. But we always just like, we have our spur of moments where we're like
Talking
giggling
a lot.
and like talking like 24/7. But then we'll have periods where we like don't talk, but we know we're okay and we're just busy. And that gives us more to talk about whenever we meet up next or have a phone call to catch up. Oh my. I was like, what hit me? Sorry. I closed my eyes at that moment.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
No, 100%. I don't think we would be friends anymore if you took my... Why did it come from this side this time? I don't think you would be my friend if you took my silences or like silent periods as like personally, you know?
I mean, I'm sure I have before, but it's like as you grow older, you learn to just not take things so personally. And we've talked about it before.
True, yeah.
You know, sometimes I'll just spam her. And like, whether she chooses to respond or not, like I know she's just overwhelmed with things. And seeing a lot of text messages just gives her a little bit of anxiety.
Totally. Typically, if I'm not responding, it's because I'm like way too overstimulated, and I probably read it and like laughed or like, you know, had a giggle or whatever. But it's just like in that moment, I probably am paralyzed from like everything that I'm doing, but I'm probably just doing work.
And it's never like super important stuff that you don't respond to. You know what I mean? It's just like minor things.
Yeah.
If it's something important, I know you'll respond right away.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
As far as making new friendships in a new city, I was just fortunate because I think I met at least 1 or 2 people because I moved down, I relocated from one company, the same company in Vancouver to Miami. So that was a good segue into, you know, networking or meeting new people. I would say number 1, workplace. However, there's a lot of people that no longer require work in office and it's remote. So I would say the second thing is to definitely just do your daily routine, but try to spend more time outdoors. And what I mean by that is like daily things we like to do, walks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of clubs where you can join to like walk together or just give off a very strong energy, or you really put out what you attract what you put out. That's what I'm trying to get at. Another thing that helped was to take on new hobbies, such as
yeah, for sure.
I would say pottery, which I did for a while. I met 2 really good friends. They're no longer in Miami, but it was just a lot of fun to just meet new people who wanted to try the same thing as you.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
little communities. I don't know if there's book clubs out there, but that'd be a really cool one. Or like going to cafes. But not one big thing I had to learn is you're not approachable if you're always wearing headphones. That was a big thing when I first moved down.
Yeah, because you always have music playing.
I love music, and I always like to walk around with headphones. But honestly, no one's gonna approach you or like tap you, be like, hey. Like it's kind of like rude.
Do you find that, like, if you don't wear headphones, you actually get approached?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at someone, if I was wearing headphones, just like reading somewhere,
Yeah.
like, I don't look approachable.
I also wouldn't approach someone with headphones. Like, I get that, but I find that even if I don't wear headphones, which actually usually I don't like wear headphones, but even so, like, I don't know whether it's just I give off not approachable energy, which baffles me because I think I'm so friendly and stirpy and not unapproachable.
Yeah.
But maybe because I'm not socially, like,
I know for a fact that you have a strong RBF as well. And I mean,
Really?
I also have one. Yeah. Or like a pondering face, like
I
your
have like
thinking face.
Yeah,
And it's like no smile, right?
it's true.
But
I don't.
if someone
But who's
smiles,
sitting there like?
No, just like, I don't know. Like, I think it has to do with body language as well.
Yeah.
And
Next time I sit alone, I'm just gonna whisper to myself.
just smile to yourself.
Approachable smile. Look approachable smile.
When I was in Lisbon on Saturday and I just went out by myself.
Yeah. How did you meet that girl, the local girl?
Yeah, the local girl. I met a few people that night. The first were probably the 2 guys that just talked to me when I was sitting down at a record coffee wine bar. And then I went to the rooftop the second half by myself. There was a UK couple coming up in the elevator, and they already gave off a very fun, warm energy, and they seemed approachable. They made a joke in the elevator, and I just kind of smiled. And as I got my drink, I went to the scenic area, and it was pretty packed, so there wasn't really any seating. So I was just looking around to see where I can kind of like put my drink down. So I actually saw the girl by herself. I was like, hey, like, you know, can I put my drink down here? And then just started a conversation. She was alone because her boyfriend was probably getting a drink. But then when he came back, he was so fun to talk to, like super. He was just like, hey, like, you know, it's like, it's not that hard. I think you can read people really well, whether they want to talk or not.
Yeah, definitely.
And then later, there was a local Portuguese girl who was sitting beside us. And I think we were just continuing our conversation between us 3. And then eventually there was an open table. She grabbed it first and she was like, you guys can come sit with me. And then all 4 of us sat in a booth. And honestly, like, that's what ignited like the conversation.
Organic.
Yeah, for like, I think I hung out with her for like a few more hours, and she took me around to like different places. She took me to pizza, a few bars, and just like introducing to me to people that she knew, which was really cool.
When you're eating alone, do you bring a book with you or anything?
I always have a Kobo with me, so yes. Sometimes I do just sit there and just like look though, and just look around and like not be looking at something, but rather like maybe people watching, admiring the restaurant, or talking to the waiter, or sitting at the bar by yourself. You can really chat up bartenders. Like, they tend to be pretty friendly.
It's
or whoever's beside you at the bar.
Yeah, I did have a solo meal when I was in Toronto at this restaurant called Cafe Renee, and like it looked busy. When I went in, I realized it was like a very social restaurant. Like as in like people obviously went there for like after work drinks and like sharing a pasta and wine before girls' night kind of thing, right? So they put me at the bar, but it was like the end of the bar where you can sits facing each other. And there's these 3 girls who were like obviously on a girls' night, like they were like talking shit about boys and like, you know, the whole ordeal. And at first I was just kind of like sitting there by myself, like I ordered food. I didn't like pull out my book yet. I was just kind of like looking around, like observing. And even though I feel like if I had said something to the girls, they probably would have had a conversation with me, I also just felt like they weren't really giving the energy of like, oh, come join us. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like oftentimes if you're in a group and you see someone alone, it's obviously easier for the group to be like, hey, like, what's up? Like, da-da-da-da-da, rather than for the single person to, like, approach a group and be like, hi, like, what you guys up to? Right?
I think it would depend on the girl group.
It's true,
you can
totally.
tell when
girls
are more friendly.
Exactly. Yeah. I wasn't really getting, like, they didn't even really, like, smile at me when I first sat down and made eye contact. Like, it was very much so, like, okay, you guys are obviously, like, talking to, like, you know, analyzing your shit, like, how, you know, do you?
Yeah.
I would say, like, that was the first time in a while where I sat and I was like, oh, this is, like, actually a bit weird for me to be here alone, just because the vibe of the restaurant is so social. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
But then in that scenario, like, that's exactly why I bring a book. I just, like, whip the book out. I'm like, all right, peace. Like, let me just dive into this, eat my pasta.
Yeah. Like, solo traveling has a lot to do with self-reflection.
Yes.
And you learn more about like who you are as a person.
I definitely don't have an issue with the solo part of solo travel. I'm not so good at the social part of solo travel. Like every time I go solo travel, I will say when I used to solo travel, I made it a goal not to talk to anyone. Like it was like I'm there for pure, like I need to figure my shit out. But I would say like in more recent trips, I've been more open to the idea of like, okay, if I have the opportunity to like have a conversation with someone, I will, you know? Yeah. So I think like that mindset change is like probably the first step to learning, like getting better at doing that. And then from there, it's just practice. Like honestly, social interactions just require practice.
Yeah.
So getting over your own fear of like, are they going to think I'm weird if I just say hi? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Janice is going to be in a podcast episode as well. Woo! I'm very excited. This is like our prelude to podcast. I literally can't even open my eyes because there's so much sand. We did this for you. We endured sandstorms. I feel like we're in Dune.
We just watched Dune 2 yesterday.
It was real good. Didn't
so
finish.
Good.
Fell asleep.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go explore a little bit more and just enjoy our day together. I think we're heading to a rooftop lounge later back in Lisbon. We should wrap. Oh, no, it's actually only 3.
Yeah, I think
we can walk around some more. I'm kind of down to like just explore this area some more.
Yeah, so we didn't put on body sunscreen, so I think it's time to skedaddle. We only did face.
All right.
Ciao.
Let's go explore.